and welcome to the first episode of Irish Rap News, telling you things you ought to know. My name is Seamus O D'ea, and I'll be looking at the way Ireland rose and fell by asking the questions of the day. In this, the first installment, we'll be skimming the top of the decisions of the government that made this country flop. We look at how our power was abused in the Dáil, and after a successful House campaign, Ireland got some balls. Now there seems to be many groups forming out of the remnants of Occupy. So what was it all about? RNE couldn't fathom why people came to the streets to share their ideas and solutions by bypassing the mainstream. So without further ado, let me cast our eye back and find an answer to start us on the right track. Occupy, Kevin, what was it all about? I want me country back. Mic check. So we all went down to occupy Dame Street. We saw all the problems but no solutions in the mainstream. We wanted to work together to ensure the future of our state and add some scope to the RT News narrow debate. So we put down some ground rules and put up our tents. We made 4 demands and said we wouldn't relent until we got back our resources and our government, and hoping to Gael to its promise of not one more red cent. Ireland's wealth going down and her crime going up. Politicians say cutbacks, not giving a fuck about the average man on a minimum wage. I bought a house in the boom, now it's more like a cage, making prisoners of debt, in fact more like slaves. And with guilt trips in the media suppressing our rage, it's time to stand up, it's time to hit back. No more backhand deals, no more kickbacks. If your ministers want cuts, then start with your pay. Next, look at the quangos with the jobs for your mates. We hear people getting evicted is just the way, or how many bankers lost their homes or their bonus pay. But really now, Kevin, what did you think you could change? And why the bank location? Weren't you just in the way? And a non-hierarchical structure in this day and age? And some of you peeps, mate, looked a bit deranged. Seamus, I understand these things that you say, but we wanted to create a space that exceeded the range of the corporate news that passes for public opinion, and we picked the central bank as the fraud's chief dominion. So, do you disagree with everything the media says? No, but we wonder who controls the scope of the debate. What do you mean? The debate's about the issues of the day, but what's not on the table is telling in its own way. Look at Ray Burke, convicted of fraud after giving away our oil to interests from abroad. But it wasn't given away though, we need the money to fill financial gaps. Seamus, after 15 years of expenses there won't be any tax. Okay, we'll have to look into that a little further, but now let's go to the Government Economic Bureau and ask some questions about the bond market. Norman Dry, hello, how are you?
Good evening.
Mr. Dry, who lent recklessly to the Irish bank?
International investors.
Who is buying unsecured bonds for higher returns?
International investors.
Whose lending jeopardised the whole system of trade?
International investors.
Who did the bailout ultimately get paid?
International investors.
Who gets all the money we sell off our assets to raise?
International investors.
Who will buy those assets that we have to sell back to pay back investors?
International investors.
So who does the government mean when they say we all partied?
Well, obviously the public.
Okay, well that's enlightening, but is it true?
Well, the whole thing's a very complicated issue, you know.
Okay, that's great, thank you. Let's get another view. We go live to investor Vlad Deutsch-Cool.
Hello, children, this is Vlad Deutsch-Cool. I'm gonna give you some lessons and take you back to school. I'm an international investor with the cash to back it up. If making a trillion was a competition, I'd ask to strip the World Cup. Now, Ireland, let's get straight to the point. Your banks and leaders played with me and got out of joint on investments and bets. As a rule, I never lose, cause if you dance with the devil, don't change, and I'll charge you. I'm not all that bad, there is the Irish elite now. Keep my party going and I'll improve your cash flow. Irish developers, bankers, and leaders are making a mint to leave the rest of you wankers living off their pocket lint and neoliberalism. The name of the game is follow the leader, and as that's me, your government's my cheerleader. Your economy, savings, and ask my chief feeder on your natural resources. I'll even put a meter. Now it's democracy, so vote in who you want. They can promise you the moon and I'll remain nonchalant, cause last night I entertained Ireland's power elite. They were guzzling free champagne and looking at my feet. Success and money is the trough. To the top pigs I offer, I just give them kickbacks for making the public money my private coffer. My privatation steam trains, your legal system's my chauffeur, and I'll be laughing as the Irish public are turning on each other.
Sorry Vlad, you're not even saying that the Irish government's right, and you're all sympathetic to the Irish public's plight, and even with all your political and financial might, are you still not vulnerable if Ireland puts up a fight?
Really, Seamus, what's right got to do with business? I just make money, I'm not Father Christmas. If Ireland was going to stand up, they'd have done it before. But if they do, I'll be long gone out that door, on the greener pastures of a European shore, asking the Greeks, have you got any more? It's your own fault then, you should have enforced regulation. Of course you'll get robbed again if the banks go undisciplined. There's plenty of corrupt leaders looking to their own future. When the big profits aren't here, I'll be off to the next venture. It's nothing personal against the Irish, hell I like Guinness, but the government put the country up for sale and I'm doing business.
Well Well, dear viewers, it's been an interesting show. Where is Ireland going? Does the government know? In the media tide, we're encouraged to follow the EU, that we can't rule ourselves, let them do it for you. But many of our friends are starting to explore Notional's Emerald Isle that has more to live for than paying back contestants in a game of Monopoly. There's energy efficiency, harmony, permaculture and democracy. What happens next? Now over this summer will be written about long after we can remember. 96 years on, is this the year again when Ireland unites behind its more public spirited brethren? So how are national decisions going to be made from here? And do the public need to enter into the political sphere? Or should we hand over our power irretrievably? To what end? To unelected officials at Europe's top end. It seems banks just give money into private hands. Is education held cuts what the EU demands? Do our government just enforce cuts and maintain the hypocrisy? Does the EU really want individuals, communities and democracy? With these questions, dear viewer, I'll leave you. Perhaps at a public meeting soon, I might meet you. For now, for Irish Rap News, this is Seamus O D'ea, signing off with the solo of the day.